Howdy, small fries, and welcome to my Species of Lythbound video series. But Sarah, didn't you already make this video? Yes, but first, thank you for being so attentive, superfan. I did make some of these already, but if you saw them, you probably realized they blew ass. This is because I tried to squeeze too many into one video. This first video is about the Axomaur, a species from the art RPG Lythbound. This is now a dead game that had nearly 50 original species in it. In Lythbound, you'd pick one of these creatures and do some quests to unlock the ability to make one of your own. It's not a closed species, although it's technically a closed species because you don't get one for free, you had to participate in a quest to receive one. They considered themselves not a closed species. Anyway, it's hard to be precise about exactly how it worked, since I am no longer able to get a good look at it because it is since closed down, because you can't make an account anymore. When I made some videos on this, I never finished the list, but also the videos weren't very good. So I'm completely starting over, rewriting the script and remaking the videos. I'll also be doing only one species per video. Once done, I'll make an intro and an outro and combine them all as one big, large video. Currently, this species is only archived via the Wayback Machine, and what I managed to save before it went down. Future videos will not have this intro. I'm going to keep each one as isolated as possible until I make them into one big video. The problem with this game was definitely an issue of quantity, and it started around the same time as the Corvid. I've talked to some other players, and other than trouble with funding, the game had a big problem with too many species while none of them being fleshed out enough individually. Some of these species are no longer associated with Lythbound, but will still be mentioned because they were a part of the game when it was running. Many of these are considered open species now. Oh yeah, and since the site doesn't exist anymore, I'll go into full details about them. I'll list everything that is on their specific species page. Now for the actual video. Axomaur. Tuna, the chicken of the sea. No clue why it's called that, but either you love it or you hate it. Unlike tuna, you'll love the puppies of the sea, the amphibious sea dog beasts called Axomaur. They're called this not because they're as dumb as a dog, but they're actually pretty smart. The problem is, much like Earthican dogs, they lack impulse control. They're sometimes thought to be stupid because of this, but it's more like they're just bad at hiding emotions and information. Having large, over-the-top bodily expressions that are dictated by their current mood, just like an Earthican dog. Wagging tail, perked ears, tongues lolling out of their mouth. If a dog could lie, they'd be terrible at it, and you can expect much of the same from the Axomaur. But this doesn't mean they're incapable of thinking things through, just that it requires quite a bit of self-control from them. Much like a dog, as long as you're nice, they'll be your friend. And even if you're mean, they tend to be very forgiving. It's not known if this is because of a short attention span or not, though. As you probably guessed, they get their name from a portmanteau of axolotl and dinosaur. As such, much of their appearance and anatomy is based on that, and it is complemented by dog-like features and behavior. This is a great example of an original species that's still very original, despite being a mashup of two very common animals. Well, not super common, it's not like dinosaurs walk the earth, but everyone knows what a dinosaur is. Sure, they're just axolotls and dinosaurs combined, but with adding dog-like behavior, you get a unique combination. Axomaur, as defined by their anatomy, have a short, chunky build with short legs lending heavily to their dog-like appearance. Along their back and tail is a series of nub-like ridges that can vary in number, size, and shape, typically having one or two rows running down their backs and tails. Much like your dog, they're not capable of standing on their hind legs for long, but will occasionally rear back in an upright sitting posture to use their forelegs to reach for and grab objects. Their dog-like ears are more of a trick. Lacking proper ear canals, they serve more as feelers akin to those on the axolotl. Since they spend so much time in water, an open ear canal would definitely lead to ear infections. Next to their ears are up to 3 additional pairs of feelers that don't look like ears, but it's rare for them to have more than one pair. Since the Axomaur are born underwater, they have gills and spend their childhood fully submerged. At birth, they weirdly entirely lack lungs and only vestigial or underdeveloped limbs. But as they age, they grow lungs, their limbs strengthen, and eventually migrate to a more terrestrial lifestyle. As they mature further, depending on their personal choice, they may adapt further towards the terrestrial or aquatic lifestyle, with some even adapting specifically to cold environments. For example, the terrestrial Axomaur may lose their gills entirely, breathing only pure unfiltered air, and develop a more muscular body, fitting one that has to carry their weight all day. The majority, however, tend to lean more towards an aquatic to semi-aquatic lifestyle. If you plan to make an Axomaur, you have a few required traits like chunky, quad bodies, short legs, one row of nub bridges along their back, and make sure you check out the upcoming variant sections. There is no quote-unquote regular Axomaur, as they all fall under one of the upcoming subtypes. As a bonus, they can have claws and thumbs, colored sclera with no pupils, and even small vestigial or pseudo wings. This anatomy is mostly just a basic outline, as there are multiple subspecies of Axomaur that break the mold or specialize in certain modes of life. These subspecies are aquatic, terrestrial, alpine, axolotls, monstrous Axomaur, and teacup Axomaur. Aquatic Axomaur. The aquatic Axomaur are the most common Axomaur species. They prefer, excel, and need water-based living. These Axomaur have softer skins that need constant moisture, or else it may crack, bleed, and become otherwise painful. Their softer skin tends to be smooth, matte, or even slimy to the touch. They also have a second eyelid to protect their eyes underwater. Their tails tend to be adorned with a frilly or fluffy tadpole-like fringe. These features can also be present along their back, making them look like they have long flowy manes like a horse. If you're making an aquatic Axomaur, here's the rules. Smooth, matte, or slimy skin, at least one pair of gills, ears resembling feelers, and a lack of open ear canals. As a bonus suggestion, add some fishy features like fins, webbing, and frills. Terrestrial Axomaur. Axomaur typically tend to start their life in water, but some may choose to live on land once they've matured. These Axomaur become the terrestrial subspecies. These Axomaur tend to lack many of their more delicate appearing features of Axomaur like frills and fins, and many grow out of their gills. This means that they are painfully terrestrial. They may have strong swimming instincts, but can only breathe air and have to hold their breath when submerged. To complement their more rugged lifestyles, these Doggosauruses have reptilian-like scales or rough skin. Their ears also have proper functioning ear canals. Making a terrestrial Axomaur means you need to have rough or scaly skin, open ear canals, more mammalian-like appearance, and consider adding extra feelers, removing gills, and having thicker tails. Alpine. We've covered water, land... What's the other thing? Sky? No, that's stupid, they can't fly. Snow! Alpine Axomaur are very similar to terrestrial, but instead lack all ridges and feelers and grow big fluffy manes to help keep warm. But just because they live in the snow doesn't mean they're adverse to swimming. Many alpine Axomaur will dwell close to natural hot springs. When it comes to finding food, they tend to use their very dog-like nose to sniff it out. If you're making an alpine Axo, you need a dog or cat-like nose, manes that cover their necks and along their backs, and optionally add scaly spots or rock-like protrusions, and ears more like that of terrestrial Axos. Axolotl. Axomaur being related to dinosaurs is more than a matter of appearance, like previously mentioned. Before they were Axomaur, they were the Axolotl, which still roam their homeworld to this day. This was recently discovered as everyone thought they went extinct. These early Axos used to live in deep water caverns and underground caves, typically having a skinnier body and extra legs, eyes, and grow horns. So yeah, you can imagine their reemergence being not just a shock, but a little terrifying for some. Axolotls require 4 to 8 eyes, 3 to 6 pairs of legs. Oh god, they're like centipedes. I hate centipedes. Right, at least one horn on the bridge on the tip of their nose. As bonuses, consider features like those found in Aquaterra or Albaxos, long bodies, and hand-like paws. Fun fact, in Lythbound, this variant required an item to make. This is pretty common in our RPGs. I do the same in my game. They're all tickets though, so people don't get confused. But that's not the only monstrous visage Axomaur come in. Some Axomaur have a temporary condition that forces a transformation into a beastly visage. This transformation causes a rapid growth of their size and strength. When they get like this, they hunt anything that moves. Can't believe they stole Sonic's werehog form like that. Monstrous Axos are bipedal with clawed front paws, have a minimum of 2 tusks that are either overbites or underbites, front and back legs are plated, and optionally have ridges and gills, slit-like pupils like a cat, long tongue, and an arched back. This one also required an item. Teacup. On the complete opposite side of Scary is the little baby teacup. I shouldn't call him a baby, because that's a full-grown man. Don't mind his size. He may only be a foot tall, but this baby can carry so much responsibility. He's got taxes, a 401k, 3 baby Axomaur on the way, a mortgage, It just doesn't help that he has a smushed baby face and is only a foot tall, and despite not having thumbs, he can still somehow do his taxes. It's kind of actually impressive to watch. Teacups need to have a short, flat muzzle that barely sticks out of their face. Their bodies are also short and chubby, with their heads pretty small. They also don't have thumbs, have short or no ears, no feelers, and scrunchy necks. Baby Axomaur. When two Axomaur look at each other from across the bar and dig each other's vibes, they may choose to have a baby. The baby's life cycle are very similar to that of frogs being born as a tadpole-like creature, but with partially developed legs and a huge rudder-like flipper to help them swim. They often depict a lot of the features they'll have when fully grown, like nubs, claws, fins, and stuff like that. Despite the shared traits, you can't really tell that they're related. If you decide to make an aged fetus, they need to look like a tadpole. They'll have front legs, and their tails will have a flipper. As a bonus, you can give them nubs, gills, and back legs. Some bonus fun stuff. Axomaur are related to another species called symphonies, but of course lack their musical abilities. In order to unlock an Axomaur, you had to complete the Origin quest. All species on Lythbound required a quest to make one. If you were playing Lythbound, what would you need to do? Draw the baby form. Oh, well, that's pretty easy. So, how do we make one now? All the species of Lythbound are open species now and can be made by anyone, except for the few that are returning to their original owners like symphonies and pseudonyms. And that's it for the species. That's one down and only 46 more to go. The time just flies by. Before we go, let's thank my shrimp sims, and thank you for liking, watching, and commenting a shrimp emoji. Thanks to Rask, Ver, WildKitty69, Beef, Bait, Cryptid Arthas, Sly, Colorado Blue, Vaderson, Linky, Splackjack, Malding Brick, and Copyleft. You can get your name at the end of these videos by becoming a patron, where you'll get early access to my original species course, or by becoming a YouTube member, where you'll get access to emotes, views and replies, and live chats. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you later. Bye!